Much of Indonesia flowers with a rich Hindu and Buddhist tradition. While music does not play a large part in historical Buddhist teachings, the people of Bali have nonetheless integrated music into their culture and society. Gamelan music developed out of Buddhist and Hindu roots in Bali and neighboring Java. Comprised of mainly gongs, metal-keyed instruments, and drums, gamelan, meaning orchestra, sounds strange to the unaccustomed Western ear. The unique tuning and cyclic progression of gamelan differs greatly from the Western music standards and gives it its unfamiliar sound. Gamelan's first arrivals in the West fascinated Western composers, and many of them wrote gamelan-inspired works. Balinese gamelan music has its roots in Javanese gamelan, but it has evolved into its own distinct style. Bronze Age technology arrived in Southeast Asia early in the first millennium and led to the development of bronze instruments and beginnings of gamelan music. Gamelan arose from a combination of a wide range of foreign influences, including pitch relationships from China, bronze instruments from Southeast Asia, modal practices and drums from India, and military styles from Europe. Both Balinese and Javanese gamelan have similar instruments, organization, and tuning. The main difference between Balinese and Javanese gamelan reflects the cultural differences of the two countries. Javanese gamelan is reflective, subdued, and open to improvisation, while Balinese gamelan is expertly coordinated, brash, aggressive, energetic, and has pronounced contrast in mood. The religious influence of both types differs. While most of Java has been converted to Islam, Bali is still primarily Hindu, and this accounts for some of the differences. Balinese gamelan can be further classified into three historical divisions, the first of which is the Tua, meaning old. Old period Balinese gamelan predates the Hindu religion in Bali and is associated today with indigenous Balinese groups called Bali Aga. Gamelan from this division is primarily sacred music, and the Bali Aga communities played it to accompany priestly rituals for appeasing indigenous gods. Gamelan is passed down primarily as an oral tradition through guru-disciple relationships. Musical notation exists, but it is rarely used. The exact time when this division arose is uncertain, as all information about it is gathered from observing these surviving isolated indigenous groups. The second historical division of Balinese gamelan is the Madya, or middle. Middle period Balinese gamelan is associated with royal courts, and it is thought to have developed out of the ceremonies of the Hindu Javanese courts of Majapahit that occupied Bali from the 9th to 16th centuries. Middle period Balinese gamelan is played alongside sacred rituals, but it is not actually a part of the ritual. The spread of Islam in Java in the 14th century forced Hindu royalty to migrate to Bali, where their and local rulers' patronage helped Bali art flourish. Advances in bronze technology in the region around this time led to bronze-based gamelan ensembles with finely crafted gongs and metal keys. One example of gamelan in this middle division is the Gamelan Gamba, one of the earliest Balinese ensembles with surviving written records. Gamelan Gamba is based on the narrative of the Gamba play, which depicts the life of the legendary Hindu Javanese prince Panji. At the core of Gamelan Gamba are 4 deep-voiced bamboo suling flutes. These very long flutes, along with a bowed lute, rebab, play airy, haunting melodies in a kind of fuzzy coordination that have a distinctive, ghostly sound. These instruments are accompanied by a percussion section of 2 high-pitched drums, 2 small bronze gongs, and a group of indefinitely pitched bells, cymbals, and chimes that underpin the melodies with a carpet of bright ringing accents. The third and final historical division of Balinese gamelan music is the Baru, or New. As Dutch colonization and rule of Bali in the early 20th century caused the decline of the Bali courts, gamelan instruments and traditions were passed from the higher castes down to the villagers. With gamelan in the hands of the villagers, a revolution in Bali music occurred. Works from this period are free of narrative associations or based on tales from later periods, and they are also typically performed secularly and apart from ritual. This new period revolution includes the birth of Gamelan Gong Kebyar in North Bali circa 1915. Gamelan Gong Kebyar is the most popular and influential genre of music in Bali in the 20th century. Gong Kebyar's qualities reflect its villager origins, and gamelan historian Michael Tenzer writes that the high-speed and capricious pyrotechnics of Kebyar music are quintessentially 20th century in flavor and bear the unmistakable stamp of a music at long last released from the precious refinery of aristocratic environs. It is highly orchestral, and around 25 performers are in a typical ensemble. Gong Kebyar has absorbed the styles on which it is based, taken elements from almost unrelated ensembles, and combined all these influences to create its own ultra-modern style. Its flexibility to adapt other forms into its own contributes to its lasting power. Gong Kevyar's dominance of 20th century Balinese music prompted movements to preserve traditional forms of gamelan, including the establishment of a high school and college of the performing arts in Denpasar. Today, young composers are looking more towards traditional forms of gamelan for their inspiration, but are stretching the boundaries of what is traditionally considered correct at the same time. The instruments that form a gamelan lend its character and are vastly different from the makeup of a Western orchestra. The fact that the word gamelan refers specifically to the set of instruments reveals their importance. Gamelan instruments include keyed instruments, gongs, drums, and other supplemental instruments. Keyed instruments in a gamelan ensemble, called metallophones, vary in size and construction and are played with masterful technique. These metallophones are struck with various types of pangal or mallets. They come in two basic structural designs, the gender and the saran. The gender family uses bamboo resonators, above which the keys freely hang. The saran family has keys that are simply laid over a wooden trough, held in place with posts, and padded slightly with rubber where the bronze comes into contact with the wood. The structure of the saran family creates a sound that is more crisp and brittle than the gender instruments. Sarans are uncommon, but not unheard of in Bali. They are more common in Javanese gamelan. The long resonating sounds of the genders must frequently be stopped by a technique called damping in order to stop the tones from mixing with each other and washing out the sound. If only one mallet is used to play for the gender, damping is performed with the free hand. Otherwise, if both hands hold mallets, a combination of fingertips and wrists is used to damp the sounds for more staccato notes. In fast musical passages, this technique requires extreme coordination and control. The genders of Balinese gamelan come in different sizes and pitches. The gongs of Balinese gamelan vary in size and function. Gamelan gongs range from tiny high-pitched gongs to gigantic 90-centimeter diameter or larger gongs. Their most important function is to signify structural points in a composition, and different gongs have different roles. The large and deep gong agang mark the beginnings, strong accents, and the endings of melodies.